Hello and welcome to another edition of It's About Money. I'm Nanette Nokan. Thanks for joining us. In good economic times, we need to look at our financial budget and make sure that we have enough resources to meet our goals and objectives and hopefully save for our future. In difficult economic times, it makes it even more important to do so. Today, we're very fortunate to have two of Cornell Cooperative Extension's finest to talk to you about managing your household finances. Our first guest is Marilee Bourbeau from the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Wayne County. She is the Family and Consumer Science Educator in Wayne County. She also does educational programs in the area of financial management and human development. Our other guest is Sue Grace from Cornell Cooperative Extension of Monroe County. Sue is the Nutrition, Health, and Food Safety Program Leader in Monroe County. She's a registered dietitian who oversees the Community Nutrition Education Program. Thank you very much, both of you, for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Mary, let's start with you. How does the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Wayne County assist families in managing their financial resources?
We have several programs. One is called the Family Budget Counseling Program, which matches trained budget counselors with families. And they meet at a mutual time and location and work with each other from 2 to 10 sessions on some of the tools and techniques to gain control over their family financial situation. We run an ongoing workshop called Stretch Your Dollars, which is a 2-hour workshop. We offer it 4 times a month. And this is also some of the tools that I'll talk about today for families who can be a little more self-sufficient, can take those tools home with them and run with them. And then other workshops upon invitation of community groups or agencies in Wayne County on credit management, financial planning, etc.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Now, every situation is different, but there are some key points that you could share with our viewers.
I'd like to make 4 key points and go through them one by one. Slide 1 shows them clearly, and they are to 1, identify your priorities, 2, know what you spend where, maximize the resources available to you is the 3rd point, and then lastly, limit credit card debt. So why don't we talk about the first one, identify your priorities. And if you look at the second slide, you'll see an example of financial goal setting. And just like families set goals in other areas of their lives, we're hoping that they set financial goals as well. And this is broken down into short-term, intermediate goals, and long-term, with an example under each category. So for a short-term goal, an example might be to pay off that credit card debt, that credit card bill, within a year's time. An example of an intermediate goal might be to establish an emergency fund, and we encourage all families to do this so they have a buffer when a crisis occurs or they need some additional funds. And then a long-term goal may be, as an example, savings for retirement. The second point is to know what you spend where. And this is absolutely critical. We encourage all families to track their expenses if they don't already. Now, for those of us who have checking accounts, that check register is a natural way to track expenses. But you usually need something else. And the calendar over here is an example of one way to conveniently track expenses on a daily basis. And if you'll look at that closely, you'll see that you've got, at the end of the day, a grocery expense is written, rent, electric, gas, etc. And then it's really easy to add them up at the end of the month, put them into categories, and know where your money's gone for that month. It turns out that by tracking expenses, just by doing that alone, I think because you're more aware of where your money's going, you can save up to 20% in your expenses.
Excellent.
And folks need to really develop their own methods. You might have something in your purse or your pocket so you can keep track of where your cash goes. You may capture all your receipts and put them in a coffee can or an envelope when you get home at the end of the day, add them up at the end of the week or the month. Whatever method works for you, the idea is to find out where your money's going.
That's great. The calendar looks nice because you could see the big picture.
Exactly. In this example, you'll see that you can circle your pay dates, and this helps you with a cash flow situation so you know when money's coming in. And you could even put when your bills are due on the calendar and then check them off when you pay them. So it becomes a management tool as well as a tracking tool. Great. In the third slide, the other thing we need to be aware of are those expenses that don't necessarily happen on a monthly basis, and to keep track of those as well. And examples are holidays and birthdays, school supplies, car servicing and repair, subscriptions, car insurance, property taxes, vacations, etc. And what we encourage families to do here is to keep track of those every month, add them up over a year, divide by 12, and that's the number, that's the amount of money you're going to have on a monthly basis to be able to cover those non-monthly expenses.
So set those aside in a savings account, and when the lump sum payment comes up, you have the money for it.
Yeah, so there's no surprises.
Avoids the credit card charging and all that stuff.
Exactly, exactly. The fourth slide is an example of a family spending plan, and you could use a document like this or put it on your computer. And you've got one example of monthly expenses under housing in the first column: rent, mortgage, real estate taxes, home insurance, electricity, heat, etc. And once you know those expenses, once you've tracked them, you can put those figures into the actual column. You know what your income is, and if you want to make some changes to meet your financial goals, you can put some plan figures. How can you shave in different areas? And so put some figures in the plan column, and then at the end of the month, see how you made out. Sure. And just do that on a monthly basis and make some changes over time. This is just an example of housing expenses, and you can create your, obviously there's lots of other expenses, food, eating out.
Sure, just tailor it to your needs.
Yeah. Exactly, exactly. The third point is to maximize the resources available to you. And one of the really key things here is for your own self and your family to have a way of determining needs versus wants. And this will help you avoid that impulse buying. And these questions are just suggestions. These are some of the questions you might ask yourself to determine whether you really need an item or not. And they are: how will it change my life? What happens if I don't purchase it? What is another way to get the same results? Does it overload my inventory? Am I being sold, or have I really determined I need it?
Those are great questions. Sounds like you have to walk away from that item you want to purchase and ask yourself these questions.
Exactly, exactly. Give yourself some time. The next slide, the sixth slide, is different examples of ways to spend less. And clearly, you could just not buy the item if you determine that you don't need it. You could borrow something, for example, a tool that you might use once or twice a year. You can share. And a good example of that might be potluck suppers, and also have a nice time with friends. Substitute a less expensive product. Use wisely, and a great example of this is the energy in our homes. If we can make our homes tighter, more energy efficient, we can spread that energy dollar. To find the best buy by comparison shopping, to make it, as in birthday cards or gifts, for example, to rent or hire, or to trade. And we have more and more families trading books, paperback books, magazines, and that kind of thing to save themselves some money. The next slide, the seventh slide, is an example of saving on a small item. And it's just how things really do add up. And this is an example of soda. And if you see the first line there is someone who purchases soda at the machine at work every day, so 5 days a week, let's say. And they're spending, over the course of a year, $195 on soda. If they purchase that on sale at 25 cents a can or whatever, instead, that would be $65 per year. And so really you have a savings of $130 right there. So there's an example of tracking something and comparison shopping using those two techniques to save yourself some money over time. You haven't
deprived yourself of something that you like to do, but you've saved some money.
Exactly, exactly. Because the goal setting has to also include the things that maybe you don't necessarily need, but you want. They're important to you.
Right.
The other way to maximize resources is to access community resources, such as libraries, which offer not only free books, but videos, magazines, access to computer services, etc. There might be food pantries in your community, thrift stores. Your children might be eligible for free and reduced lunch and breakfast at their schools. There's all kinds of resources available for folks. Okay. The fourth point is to limit credit card debt. And this is really important. And we're trying to get families to think about credit cards as a money management tool that they are in control of, not that the debt and the credit card controls them. Mm-hmm. It's a convenience. They're great for emergencies if they don't overwhelm us. And in slide number 8, we really show the myth of the minimum payment. We work with a lot of families who have credit card issues, and they're barely making the minimum payments, and they're digging themselves a hole that's deeper and deeper. And this example shows $1,000 worth of credit. If you just do the minimum payment every month, you will end up paying an additional $472 in interest, and it'll take you 69 months to pay the total bill.
Actually, this is an excellent time to pause and think about when people buy things on sale. Let's say they bought $1,000 worth of item that normally is $1,500. They're thinking they're getting a savings, but they're really not because of the interest expense that they're paying over time.
Exactly.
Great.
And we encourage families to limit maybe their credit card to 1 or 2 and comparison shop just for credit cards just as you do for other things to check out that interest rate, the late fees, etc. So just to summarize those 4 points again, in the 9th slide, to identify priorities, the goal setting, to know what you spend where, really encouraging families to track their expenses, to maximize the resources available to you, and there's lots of ideas and strategies there, and to limit credit card debt. So overall, we really are encouraging families to increase their savings and decrease their debt.
Wonderful. Now, how did they get started in securing your services, for example, gaining control of their financial picture?
I think a good way to get started, and this is how I got started, is just to write down in pencil, just scratch out some financial goals. And pull that out every month or 2 because they change. Life changes and our circumstances change. And then just start tracking expenses. At a minimum of 2 weeks, better to get a month worth of tracked expenses and go from there. I think once you start doing those 2 things, you'll lead yourself into more money management techniques and strategies.
That's great. Excellent, Mary. So residents of Wayne County can contact the Cornell Cooperative Extension at Wayne County to secure the services they offer. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Now, Sue, let's talk about what the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Monroe County how they help consumer manage the family resources.
Yeah, we just heard about Wayne County and how they have more of a broad-based program for financial management. In Monroe County, our cooperative extension focuses mostly on nutrition and food, and how can we stretch our food dollar so we can make it to the end of the month without running out of food. So we work a lot with low-income clients because our USDA funding, the Food Stamp Nutrition Education Program, offers us that opportunity to help clients make better food choices, stretch their food dollars, handle food more safely. So our goal is to encourage our clients to make it to the end of the month without relying on emergency food programs like food pantries and food shelves. We want them to get the most for their dollar, and not just the most quantity, but a very nutritious product as well. So that's where the education piece comes in. And we also educate our clients about the different resources we have available, that are available to them, like WIC, Women, Infant, Children, the Farmers Market Program, food stamps. So we really help empower our clients to help themselves.
That's great. Give us some examples of the classes that are offered to low-income families.
Sure. We work generally with groups of clients, so we generally do group settings. We do a series of classes, generally 8 or more classes, and they're skill-based or skill-focused. So we try to teach them things about how do you read unit pricing, how do you plan meals, how do you grocery shop based on your menu plan. So one of the things we'll do is after we taught them some basic lessons on nutrition and food safety, is we'll have them take an inventory of the current foods they have on hand. And these may be basic staples like herbs and spices, flour, sugar, things like that. And then we'll try to get them to do some menu planning, some planning ahead. Everyone should be doing this, thinking ahead of what you might be preparing for the day, for the week, because if we just kind of spontaneously make meals, we often make things that are very quick, but often not very nutritious. So we want to ensure that they're eating really nutritious meals as well as cost-effective meals. So they take an inventory, they do a meal plan, they might develop a grocery list based on their meals that they've decided they might have for the week, and then we work with them on utilizing grocery store ads and looking at those grocery store ads for some good sale items. And oftentimes grocery stores have what they call lost leaders. And these are items that the grocery store sells below their cost. So for instance, if a grocery store had an item like ground beef on sale, we would encourage them to purchase a quantity of the ground beef that's on sale and break it up into packages, freeze it, and then they could make a variety of different items, and we help them brainstorm those items. It could be tacos or burritos or meatballs or meatloaf. So we're trying to encourage them to take advantage of those sale items and then also utilize them in their meal planning. One of the other things that we work with our clients on is unit pricing. And we actually help them with looking at different or comparable type of items. So for instance, this is a juice drink here. This is a store brand juice, and this is more of a top-end juice. And we help them by not only looking at the cost per unit, but also looking at the nutrition. So for instance, this juice drink has only 5% juice. If you look at the nutrition facts food label, you'll see that it just says 5% juice at the top. This is very inexpensive. 64 ounces is about $1.69. But this is a taxable item because it's a drink. It mainly has sugar and water in it. Now, this other product here, which is a store brand juice, is 100% juice, and they can tell that by reading the nutrition facts food label. Right on the label it'll say 100% juice. This is not taxable, but what's great about this is that it has quite a bit of vitamin C and potassium, wonderful nutrients that are healthy for our body. And then this product here also has the same nutritional ingredients, high in vitamin C, but it's quite costly. It's a little bit more expensive, more like $3.99 versus somewhere between $1.50 to $2 and then $1.69. So again, when we're working with clients, we're not just looking for the best buy or the most quantity, we're also looking at the nutritional value.
And actually those two products could be about the same in price because one is taxable and
right, right. By the time you pay the tax on this, it's very comparable to the price of this, but then we try to encourage them to look at the nutritional value of the juice versus the juice drink.
Terrific.
Another example is just some of your prepackaged products, like your instant potato mixes or instant rice mixes. And these are great because these are really convenient and easy to prepare. They're very quick and easy. But I'd like to show the viewers something, and that is when you open up this box, there's not that much rice in there. And the other thing that it offers is like a seasoning packet. This is about $1.50 for this package. I was able to go to the store and get a 2-pound bag of rice for about $1.29, and this happens to be brown rice, so it has a little bit more fiber. And so if the consumer that I'm working with really likes the prepackaged item because of the flavor, I say, well, you can duplicate that by making rice from scratch and just using a basic bouillon cube in the water as you're cooking. If you're concerned about sodium, because prepackaged products are very high in sodium, you can use a low sodium bouillon cube and still get the same flavor.
And it lasts a lot longer.
Oh, this you can make a lot more rice, feed the family many meals, versus this is a one-time serving. You could feed probably maybe 4 to 6 people with this box, where this could be stretched for many meals for a family. Okay. And then I have one other example of how we teach consumers about unit pricing, and that's with coffee. This is ready-to-go coffee, and then this is just a can of regular coffee. And what you'll see is that the ready-to-go coffee, although it's really convenient, can be quite costly, somewhere between $1 to $2 for a cup. So say this is about $3 for these 2 cups. Well, you could take that $3 and buy a whole can of coffee and make somewhere between 80 to 90 cups of coffee. So just taking a little bit of time, the consumer can save quite a bit of money.
Oh, absolutely. That's actually a perfect example. You can just put a little flavoring with the coffee that you make at home, and last you, boy, it could be 100 times as much.
Right, right.
That's excellent.
Okay. So those are some of the examples of some of the lessons that we try to offer to our clients.
Now, earlier you mentioned food stamps, the WIC program, Women, Infant, and Children, and then Farmers Market. What is that about?
Well, the Farmers Market program is a great way to stretch your food dollar as well, because you can buy locally grown produce and you can buy it in season, so it's high nutrient products, and you can buy them very reasonable. You could buy things in bulk and then share them with neighbors or other family members. And our nutrition educators actually go out to the local farmers markets and do food demonstrations, hand out recipes, and educate consumers on how to select, store, and prepare locally grown produce.
Great, excellent. Now, all of us are pressed for time. Are the recipes quick and easy?
Yes, the recipes are made from typical household ingredients and are very time efficient. We're very cognizant of the fact that people don't have a lot of time. So we have our recipes on our website, or people can come in and we can offer them some recipes if they would like. And we also have some guides too to help individuals. This one is a basic skillet meals master recipe. Another one is an easy stir-fry recipe. And we also have one for casseroles as well. So these, again, are available on our website, or you can either call our office or stop in 8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Friday at 249 Highland Avenue, and we'd be happy to give you a copy.
That's great. And if you don't have your own internet service, as Mary Lee had mentioned, you can go utilize the community services like the library to access and download this information. That is excellent. You've got a lot of wonderful programs here. And you can also listen to Sue at WHAM, right? Every Tuesday and Thursday?
Yes.
Okay, great. Tuesday and Wednesday morning.
Tuesday, Wednesday mornings, bright and early at like 5:06 in the morning.
I see. Okay. And WXXI every other Saturday.
That's correct.
That's great. So what other venues do the two of you provide this information? Do you go to other community groups? If people called and said, you know, we have this group population that could benefit from your services? Mm-hmm.
Well, we either partner with other agencies and offer our program to a group that they might already have in existence, such as a parenting group or a drug alcohol rehab group or a senior group, or consumers. If they have an interest and they would like more information on this, they can just give us a call. We can either meet the needs of their particular community group or meet with them individually as well.
That's great. Is that the same way also, the Cornell Cooperative
We're
Extension?
very good at tailoring programs to the audience. Mm-hmm. So they may not benefit exactly from the way we do our Stretch Your Dollars workshop. If they want to learn about something else or some topic or make the materials easier to read, more graphic, we usually work with the audience who's inviting us, whether it's a group of Head Start parents or a service club or a library group or whatever, to tailor the message that they're trying to accomplish. And for Wayne County, all you need to do is call us at 315-331-8415.
That's great, and we'll have both of your phone numbers on
Thank
our
you.
screen here. Now, these programs that we spoke about highlight the mission of the Cornell Cooperative Extension, or CCE.
Right.
And CCE brings non-biased, factual information to all consumers in a usable and understandable manner that help improve their quality of life. And the two of you certainly did that. It's excellent. I'm so grateful that Mary Lee Bourbeau, you were able to join us today, and Sue Grace, wonderful. And people can hear you on the radio and on WXXI as well. And to our viewers, we want to thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions or concerns, please email me at nnocon@aol.com. Until next time, I'm Nanette Nocon.